All right. Thank you, everybody, for joining us for today's book lunch. I'm so honored that you are willing to spend your lunch hour with me today. And those of you who don't know me really briefly, I'm Ali Mashadi. I'm a editor, writer, and publishing consultant. I lead a small team of publishing professionals called the Writer's Ally. And we basically exist to try and help writers and authors just like you achieve their publishing goals and dreams in whatever form that may take. And today I'm so happy to have a special guest with us, Greg. I know.
Ioannou.
Say again?
Ioannou.
I knew that.
Greg for Johnson.
Greg is a very, very experienced editor and writer. He has worked on over 2,000 books, magazines, and other publications. And most recently, he is also serving as the publisher of two publishing groups, Trist Books and Iguana Books, which we're going to dive into a little bit more deeply today because they are following some really interesting models and doing some really cool stuff that I think you all would benefit from hearing about in more detail. So let's talk about that in a little bit more detail because crowdfunding, I know, is becoming it already is a buzzword, crowdfunding, crowdsourcing, crowd everything. Talk a little bit about how exactly that works for your authors with Iguana Books and how that has really enabled you to make the publishing model happier for everyone.
Okay, so let me talk about the first time it happened because we learned a lot.
Okay.
We had an author come to us who was crowdfunding his book. He was using a company called CapiPal, which I'd never heard of before, and he managed to raise almost $17,000 to produce his book. He hadn't done the sensible steps of figuring out what it cost to produce a book or any of that. He just, went out and got his friends to send money.
Okay.
The money went to him, and that was the last we ever saw of it or him. The book never came out, as far as I know. He never finished writing it. Mm. So one of the things we did right at the beginning is our crowdfunding projects. The money comes to our company and is held in trust until it needs to get sent to designers or printers or whatever. The production cost of your book's covered.
And is that part of what you've seen as a successful sort of technique for crowdfunding to have something where it is actually the book, but it's not just like this $14.95?
Yeah, you need the range. Some people just want to pay $10 for an ebook, and that's great. Other people really want to help the author and, are willing to pitch in $500 or $1,000, and you have to give them some incentive that makes it worth their while to do.
Oh, that actually brings up a really good question, which is you've got a lot of experience under your belt with this crowdfunding now. You've seen some things that really didn't work, like authors not telling anyone about their crowdfunding campaign. And some things that have worked really well. So maybe you could talk a little bit about a couple of best practices, some tips and techniques that our listeners could apply to their own crowdfunding campaigns. So how do you see, or is there a difference between the kind of results you're seeing with Trist where the publisher's brand is very clear and very well defined, and a lot of the work that you're doing, as I said, is not only establishing the author, but also the publisher's audience, that they're going to know and trust Trist Books to create great romance novels, versus Iguana Books, where you're publishing so many different types of books. Do you feel like the brand of the publisher plays a larger or smaller role between the two, or the author's personal brand maybe comes forward more in one or the other model?
Yeah.
So for those who are listening who might be self-publishing or working with an independent publisher that isn't really providing that level of support, what would you say to them if they were looking to find someone like that to help them promote their work?
There are people who are active in the self-publishing groups in LinkedIn. A lot of promotion people are really active in those discussions. Read through some of the conversations, find someone you're comfortable with, ask a lot of questions.
Jeff is asking, what do traditional publishers think about handling authors who have self-published their books in the past?
They want to know how well the book sold and where it sold.